Okay, so this is the second part. I have my rinsed, washed, cleaned beans in my great big pot. And I'm gonna boil these for 30 minutes. The goal is, through this whole soaking and boiling and letting them sit method, is that you hydrate them as much as possible before they go in the jars, because that way they already have a lot of liquid in the bean, so they're not going to absorb as much liquid after they're processed, so you're not going to see that dryness. You're going to have that liquid floating in the bean, in the jar. So I like this method. I know there's other people who are doing some rebel canning. That is not something I'm interested in. This is tried and true. I trust what the USDA is telling me, and I like this method. So I've got small red beans and pinto beans in here, and I cleaned them, and I picked through them, and I soaked them overnight. And then I poured all of that foamy stuff off, and I rinsed them and rinsed them and rinsed them again until they were clean. And then I put clean water. Now, mind you, we have a water softener. So I'm not going to use hot water because that is softened water. And I'm not going to use city water because it's full of everything. So I have a water purifier. So I filled this with filtered water. Okay, I'm ready here to get, this is vinegar to wipe the outside rim of my jar. I have a slotted spoon to fill the jars, and then a dipper to put the liquid in. That's gonna cover my jar so I don't get it all over the place. This is an old towel. Trust me, it's clean. I like it because it doesn't have any lint. It's not like terry cloth, it's smooth, so I like it. This is my paper towel for wiping the jars. Okay, now, tip of the day, if you are buying jars, yesterday I picked these up at 60% off at Joann's. Joann's does daily, weekly coupons if you load their app. They do carry canning jars. They don't carry a lot of canning stuff, but they do carry canning jars, and there's been like 3 times now that I have gotten brand new jars and rings and lids at a steal. I paid $10 for this case, and it was regularly $24 or $23. It was $10.40 plus some tax. So I was happy to get that. I am using this Presto Precise digital pressure canner. I could just hug this thing. I think I have, actually. I am petrified of a stovetop canner. I have one. I bought one. I have a friend who's a pro. She promised she'd teach me, but oh, this should be on here. But I'm just scared of it. Oh, hang on. So when this came out, I said, yeehaw. Let's see. Okay, I want this up because we're not pressurizing anything. We're just heating up the jars. I could have left the lid off, I guess, but I think it has something to do with the timer. So this machine works by pushing these 2 buttons and adjusting this dial. I've already got it set for 40 minutes, which is what it said it was. Ooh, so it's beeping, so I know now that the jars are getting warm, okay? When it beeps at me and tells me, oh, it is telling me to fill the jars. Okay, so see how that, I put it on pressure can, it warmed the jars, now it's beeped twice and telling me to fill the jars. My beans aren't quite hot enough. So I'm gonna let this sit. I'm not gonna push the button like it says to, but when it's ready, I will take these jars out. I may actually readjust this system here because I really don't wanna get my jars and carry them back and forth filled. How am I gonna do that? So I might just move. Yeah, I might do that. So I might just adjust everything. I might move this, set this up for me to fill my jars, put something in my sink that I can set my pot on so that I can kind of have an assembly line. That's sort of how I like to do things. Yeah. This countertop, this 2-level countertop, I would never do a kitchen like this again. It looks like a big kitchen, but when you start doing something like making pasta or canning or making dough or anything like that, you have no room. Yeah, I don't like it at all. Okay, so that is what I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna just let this sit. My jars are hot. I have 3 quarts of water in here. And then the jars also are half filled with water. I put the little, what's that called? That metal thing in the bottom. I put that down because you never want to have your jars touching the bottom of the canner, no matter what kind of canner you have. The Instant Pot and the Power Pressure Cooker and all of those are not pressure canners. You can make jam with them or do anything that you could water bath, but you cannot do beans, corn, green beans, meat, anything that's not acidic. Anything that's alkaline you can't do. You have to use a pressure canner. There are other machines that are calling themselves pressure canners. As far as I know, there's only 2 that actually meet the USDA guidelines. It has to keep a high enough temperature for long enough. The center of the jar where your food is needs to be hot enough for long enough to kill any botulism spores. And so there's a lot of people out there that are doing all kinds of, they call it rebel canning, and rightly so, because you're taking a risk. You're basically flying by the seat of your pants. But people died of botulism. Hundreds and thousands of people died of botulism and other diseases from improper canning. And that's too much trauma for me. I'll just do what the USDA says. And so that's why I love this thing. They've tested it. There's a gal on another channel called Rosewood Homestead. I'll put her link below this video. She scientifically tests products and shows you why and explains it all to you, and she's very knowledgeable. I think it's Rosewood. Well, I'm going to put the link below anyway. Anyway, if you're interested in learning about canning, she really does take you step by step, and it's great. It's great to see somebody who really knows what they're talking about, and they understand the importance of doing things the right way, keeping everything sterile and making sure that we're following a process that ensures safety and that you can, because botulism is tasteless, it's clear, and it's odorless. So when you open a jar and you smell it, it could be full of botulism and you won't know it. Oh, we're getting close. Now my book said to pour boiling water on it for 30 seconds, but everything else that I've read for beans says boil it for 30 minutes or 20. Some say 20, some say 30. I don't know. I'm gonna go 20, 30 because that makes me feel good. Then when I get all these beans done, I'm gonna do some chili without beans. And I'm gonna do some in stew meat, and then I'm gonna do some in ground beef. So while these are in the canner processing, I will microwave these for just a minute and get them thawed and get some new jars out. And so when we eat chili this winter, we'll have a pint of the chili sauce and a pint of beans. Altogether we'll have a quart, which is perfect for us, because it's just the 2 of us. Okay, so that is my video showing you what I'm doing on a Sunday. I hope you all are doing something fun. This is fun to me. I am totally in my happy place. But I need to rethink this whole design over here. I want to move it over here, which means all of this has got to go. All the fall decorations and everything is gonna slide over. All right, guys, have a good morning. I'll touch base and show you in the middle of the process. Probably do a short. Let's all take care of each other. Happy canning.